During the Cattle Industry Convention this week, there's quite a bit of talk about inflation and record high retail meat prices. So what impact could inflation have in the broader economy? Here's John Phipps.
Inflation news fills the air. Partly, I think it's due to the aftermath of an unprecedented run of low inflation. For example, it's been a dozen-plus years since we managed to even creep up close to 2.5%. Nonetheless, that was yesterday. Who cares? Nobody frets about inflation that didn't happen. Meanwhile, the average inflation rate, which is measured by the Consumer Price Index, is just that, an average. Since this graph was made, we logged 3 more months of relatively high inflation to end 2021 at a 7% annual increase. As I have discussed before, each of us, however, has a personal inflation rate depending on what we buy. Does that ever make a difference? In fact, using a personal CPI calculator that you can find online, we found out our personal inflation rate was an embarrassing 0.8%. Obviously, we don't consume price-zooming stuff like having a kid in college, buying another house, or needing childcare. We have Medicare, and power tools have remained remarkably affordable, so our inflation experience is unique, just like everybody else's. Percent increases can always cloud the issue. I talked last year about how eggs are an astonishing bargain, so a 12% rise from 8 cents to 10 cents per egg isn't felt like the similar percent increase in furniture. And there are citizens who have finally had their decades of warning about inflation justified. One inflation future I can imagine is consumer spending gradually winding down as pandemic savings are exhausted, slowing the economy and easing the supply web turmoil. That seems to be the way Wall Street sees it, as inflation expectations there remain around 3% for this whole year and lower in 2023. The bond market is telling pretty much the same story. While inflation is real and a present irritation, a lot of stuff remains remarkably affordable. February is the month when I add to my stylish collection of plaid flannel shirts, usually on sale for $5 or less. And I just replaced our bedroom TV very cheaply so I could tell the actors without glasses. Food, housing, and fuels seem to be the focus of when we talk about inflation, probably because we buy them so often and see the price. Meanwhile, we fixate on an average of everything sold, not what we buy. Consequently, even if most consumable prices slow, it will still feel like high inflation to many.
Thank you, John. I know he was busy preparing for that winter storm this week. All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, Machinery Pete has Tractor Tables.